what they need to do, and that is win series. And they took 2 out of 3 from the Cincinnati Reds over the weekend at Citi Field, finishing the 6-game homestand with a 5-1 record. We welcome you to episode number 39 of the Queen's Connection, a production of Patton Sports Creative. I am your host, Andrew Patton, joined by the co-host, Corne Hogoving. Corne, like I said, the Mets did what they need to do, and that's win series. And taking 2 of 3 from the Cincinnati Reds, it keeps them in the race, and they find themselves in a pretty good spot on this Monday afternoon.
Yeah, you can be unhappy with 2 out of 3 against the Reds. Obviously, you want to keep that winning streak going, but we both knew that at some point that it's going to be broken. It was Sunday. In an unfortunate fashion, I would add. Obviously, we definitely weren't outplayed in that Sunday game, I would say. Little things that maybe went the Reds' way a little bit, which eventually got him to tie the game at least. And then the bullpen, who's been so tremendous for a long time right now, had an iffy outing from one of the people, one of the bullpen, and scoring 1-1 obviously doesn't help as well. But overall, I think you can be very pleased with how the Mets handled themselves, how they played. We definitely saw some good baseball from the Mets. I think if you look at how baseball is played, I think the Mets definitely outplayed the Reds, but they still try as well.
Yep, there's still games left for the Cincinnati Reds to be played, and obviously they don't want to be like the Chicago White Sox and lose almost every single game. They have some young guys on their roster that are trying to claim spots for next year too. So despite these teams having below 500 records, some guys have something to play for. And obviously the Reds are still trying, as is every team in Major League Baseball. As they say anyway. Maybe the players are trying. Well, I wish you put it that way. The players are trying. Maybe
Definitely.
some of the upper echelon people in those organizations aren't, but that's another discussion to be had at a later date. So let's go back to
Maybe an off-season discussion.
right
Like
off-season discussions.
we have to write those up, all the things that we talk about, and then
Right.
actually can say for the off-season.
Yeah, we'll create a document and we'll just kind of just brainstorm ideas for the off season and whatnot.
Well,
But
we're already brainstorming ideas already, so we just have to write it up.
that's right. And hopefully those off season topics are coming pushing them back as far as we can, and obviously that's going to be dependent on what the New York Mets do. And
Absolutely.
hopefully a game like Friday, they have a couple more of those this season. And Friday was a 6-4 win in extra innings over the Reds, 10 innings to be exact. This was the Mark Vientos game, we shall dub it, with Vientos hitting a 2-run homer in the first inning. The Reds did tie the game if there was something that went against Manaea in this outing. 2 of the 3 hits were home runs for the Reds, both the 2-run shots. But the Mets did get the lead back thanks to Jose Iglesias. They got a 2-run lead with JD Martinez, but like I said, the Reds hit their second of 2-run homer later in the game. So it was 4-4 going to the 10th inning after Jose Buto did a nice job to not let the free runner, ghost runner, whatever you want to call it, score in that inning. So it gave the Mets a chance to just get 1 run home. But Mark Vientos said, I'm going to drive myself home as well, launching one into left field. So a 6-4 win for the New York Mets. And like I said, it was the Mark Vientos game, and he just continues to impress, really solidifying his spot on the team for next year. Maybe there's a discussion to be had in the offseason about where he slots in position wise. But there's no doubt he's a big part of what the Mets are going to try to build over these next couple of years with David Stearns and Carlos Mendoza. And like I said, he just continues to impress. We've seen this before with Vientos. We've seen the flashes and the power he's had. It was just a matter of being more consistent, and everything's clicked together this year. So Mark Vientos, a very important player for the New York Mets.
Yes, for this year and for the future. We finally developed a hitter from our own system again. It's been a long time since we truly had a game changing type of hitter developed. I think Pete Alonso was the last one we developed, and now Mark Vientos. Um, Although I would say that I think Pete Alonso had more um, power of his own, so to speak. So it was more of a clear walk to make it. And now Vientos, who had his more of his question marks, obviously. Uh, I say when I'm right. I will also say when I'm wrong. I was terribly wrong about Mark Vientos. I saw Brad Bailey as the better overall hitter before this year. Not saying that I will give up on Brad Brady. I still think there's something there with Brad, but Mark Vientos really, really blew my mind this year. And the Friday game was another explanation point in a stretch run to have two such important hits actually carried us to that win, driving in four 2-2 run home runs. Um, Defense still not great. I still wonder where you will, like you mentioned, end up in the off season, and I do wonder what's the smartest for Mark Vientos. Is that third base? I still doubt it. I know he made a fine play on Sunday, but I think overall his range is very limited. And I think if you compare his third base play to what we saw from Brett Beatty when he's with the major leagues, I believe it's clear that Brett Beatty has the far superior glove over Mark Vientos. So to me, there's a hope that Brett Bailey can figure it out and still take that spot third base and be a good enough hitter in the major leagues, and for Vientos to keep it. Obviously, Vientos, his bat will be there at some point. But yeah, just tremendous year for Mark Vientos. We got a real one there.
No doubt about that. And like you said, there's still hope with Brett Beatty, at least on this show anyway. We're not quite ready to give up on him. Obviously, he's kind of in a, I don't want to say a similar. I mean, I guess maybe there's similar spots to where like Mark Vientos was coming into this year. There's still a guy that's highly touted within the organization. Um, a high draft pick. Vientos is a second rounder. Brett Baty, obviously the first rounder, but have shown success at the major league level, but the majority of the time had struggled. And this year, Vientos was able to put two and two together and be a good, consistent major league player. Maybe that's something that happens with Brett Beatty next year. Who knows? But I still wouldn't move on from Brett Beatty. I think there's still something there. We've seen it before, but to get back on the original point of Mark Vientos, um, just to for him to put all that stuff in his rearview mirror and march forward and uh, turn out the year that he's had. It's great to see for him and for the people in the organization who have put in the work to get into this level as well. So it obviously it's great for the fans like us to see homegrown players perform at this high of a level. So the Mark Vientos game, no doubt, but it was also a nice time for Sean Manaea. Obviously, the two home runs, you're gonna kind of look at that and be like, ah, man, that sucks. But three hits, the four runs in 6 2/3 innings, the two walks, and the nine strikeouts. So obviously, it was just one of those outings where um, the walk sometimes hurt Manaea there because I believe at least one of the home runs came because of there was a walk and then the next guy hit one out. If memory serves me correctly, I'm not going to lie, I was working at the time, so maybe uh, missed a couple things in this game from Sean Manaea, but still seems like it was a nice outing from Manaea despite those two home runs.
Yeah, no doubt. I think the seventh inning home run, hanging breaking ball in the seventh, and the Reds made him pay. I forgot who hit it. I think it was Braley, but I'm not 100% sure who hit that home run. So yeah, two bad pitches, but still he gave us seven. He struck out nine. I think there's definitely no real reason for any doubt that Manaea's strong stretch will continue in his next start. And luckily, got us the win as well, with help from more strong bullpen work. Reed Garrett, great outing, getting 4 outs. Edwin Diaz with a very, very good nine, striking out the side. And you mentioned Jose Butto with obviously the huge 10th inning to not allow that ghost runner to score, which is obviously what it's mostly, not always, but mostly gives you a good chance to win. So, yeah, overall, I think it was a very good game. I think the Mets overall outplayed the Reds. But the Reds are a dangerous team because they have some power in their lineup with some young guys who can hit the ball out of the ballpark. I think the booth said somewhere that they are amongst the league leaders in team home runs. So you know that's a that they are dangerous, and they showed that. And but the Mets luckily took care of it. Mostly one player, I would add, the offensive side. But hey, he's part of the Mets too.
I should never doubt myself. So both the runners who were on base when when De La Cruz hit his home run and when Friedel hit his home runs reached via the walk. So those two walks did end up hurting Mania a bit, but that's um,
I mean, walks happen. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna
no, I'm not gonna.
say it. Don't put 2 walks in 7 innings, so to speak. But I think the home runs hurt it more.
No,
And
yeah, I'm just saying, the walk, those guys got on base because of the walks. I didn't say
yeah,
like they were costly
like,
walks, you know. So
yeah, eventually it was costly walks. I'm not gonna deny that. But if you walk just 2 hitters over 7 innings, I'm definitely pleased out of Sean Manaea. And so yeah, we have seen earlier in the year that because of the walks they weren't able to go deep, and I think that's the main change with issuing maybe a little bit less walks, that they are able to get deep. And yeah, the home runs for the Reds came at the right time because I don't think Manaea allowed a lot of base runners, so allowing the home runs with base runners on just a little bit sucky, so to speak.
yeah, yeah, no question about that. But a Friday night win for the Mets. They were looking to carry that momentum over to Saturday with Jose Quintana on the mound, and they certainly did that. A shutout win for the Mets, 4-0. It was a little bit of a struggle to begin the game offensively for the Mets. They were getting no hit for a bit by Jacob Junis, but the Mets would finally break up that no hitter, and then they would eventually take the lead on a Harrison Bader solo home run. The Mets tacked on another run. Actually, they scored all 4 runs in that inning. I don't know what I was thinking. Thanks to Pete Alonso, who drove in the run. JD Martinez drove in a run as well. He drove in 2 runs, I should say. And they got a nice start from Jose Quintana. I mean, they did get a nice start from Sean Manaea, but they also got a nice one from Jose Quintana going 6 2/3, 5 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Obviously, the biggest takeaway is that Jose Quintana outing because we've talked a lot about Quintana on this podcast. It's been a up and down year for him, and it's mostly been down a bit for him. So to have a nice start like this is good, especially now. I believe with the way the rotation is going to line up, he's going to face the Phillies this weekend. So that's obviously a huge game, and uh, like we've said on here, sometimes there's a little bit of a what I like to call a pucker factor with Jose Quintana on the mound at times, especially in a ballpark like that that's very hitter friendly, and he likes to get his outs via contact. So, but anyway, to get back to his outing on Saturday, got some ground ball outs, got a big double play, thanks to the magician that is Jose Iglesias and the beautiful turn by Francisco Lindor. So, could have been costly maybe at times with Manaea. Obviously, there were some base runners that reached.
Yeah,
Did I say Sean Manaea again? Well, it's because I love Sean Manaea so much. But there was some soft contact against Quintana that found the open area, but he did not let that come back to bite him. So Jose Quintana trying to restore some faith in the fan base and perhaps his own manager as well on this crucial stretch run.
I thought it was absolutely tremendous, and I think I have a soft spot for lefties, for soft tossing lefties. And funny thing, or not funny thing, because Ron Darling stole my thunder, but I was watching the game later. And during the game, I was thinking with the change-up fastball combination from Quintana, who obviously throws more of a curveball than the guy I'm going to mention, but left-hander with a good change-up fastball combination, works quickly, feels his position well, not necessarily overpowering. He really reminded me of even when he stands there. He has pretty broad shoulders. So when you look at the name on the back and he stands there like that, I really had Johan Santana vibes watching this game from Jose Quintana. He used to change up a lot, and it was tremendous. I love a left-handed change up. I think it's one of the better pitches in the game, and he did so well. I really liked watching him pitch in this outing. Obviously, has his fair share of bad outings, but and the main thing which you mentioned when you mentioned the ballpark he's gonna face the Phillies at is what you said right after, and that is he got a lot of ground balls and. He got a lot of soft contact. I think the hits were, like you mentioned, were on the soft variety. The Reds besides that Friday game, had their fair share of soft hits in the other two games, I would say. Um, and somebody said, yeah, but the double plays were hit hard. But if if I'm Jose Quintana, what I want to do is get the hitters to hit the ball on the ground. And yes, they hit it hard, but still they hit it on the ground. If they find gloves, it's a double play. So to me, he does what he wants to do there, getting those ground balls. Um, so to me, that's a major plus. I think he now has three straight starts where he pitched well, if I remember correctly. Padres and then uh, White Sox. White Sox was meh, but still got the job done. So he's handled himself really well, fighting for because he said that himself, fighting for a playoff rotation spot right now.
Yeah, and no, obviously that's nice to hear because it's giving them a little extra motivation. But I mean, we don't want to assume anything because there's still so much baseball left to play. I mean, we got uh, what 3 more weeks of games to watch here, and but obviously, if the Mets are in a wild card spot, and that's probably the most likely outcome, I don't think they're going to catch the Phillies per se, but they do have 7 against the Philadelphia Phillies, so who knows what will happen. Um, but the odds are they're probably a wild card spot. I don't want to say it's too late for Shaman or Shaman. There I go again. It's not too late. I want to say it's not too late for Jose
I think
Quintana
Sean
to.
and I
No,
still part
Shaman
of
I is
both
definitely in the
people.
playoff rotation. There's no doubt about that. But I, but the point I'm trying to make is I think it might be a little bit too late for Jose Quintana to make that. I don't want to. I mean, it's good he's got this thing to motivate him, but in the reality, I think everyone would say if it's a best of 3 series, the Mets are going to throw Mania, Severino, and probably David Peterson. Some combination of that if it goes 3 games.
Yeah,
Right now anyway.
but if you go through, you need a
No,
fourth
of
guy.
course, yeah. I'm just saying,
So
you know,
I don't think he's part of the first three. I think he knows that, but I also think he's aware that Kodai Senga might be back, which I probably expect Kodai Senga not to be, ready to pitch a full start. So I probably could see, a piggyback situation with Quintana and Kodai Senga at least early in the postseason. That's my honest thought that I think is gonna happen. That's gonna happen.
yeah, it's certainly possible, no doubt about that. But if this is the motivation, the push that Quintana needs to pitch well down the stretch,
Fine with
then
me.
fine with me because, like you said, he's probably going to face the Phillies not once but twice in a row because with the way things line up, he's going to be one of those guys that's going to face the same team back in back-to-back outings. So, and like we said, those games against, I mean, all these games are huge, but especially when you're playing the Phillies, those are
Sure,
really really big games. So
big game.
they need Sean or they need Jose Quintana to. I don't know what it is about. Shamanai, Jose Quintana. Do they even sound kind of close whatsoever? I don't know why I keep screwing that
They
up.
end with an they end with an A.
I guess I don't know, but no, those are extra big games when they're the Phillies. So they need Jose Quintana to be at his best uh, for those games. And Luis Severino, who's been at his best, the majority of the season, he was really good on Sunday as well as we transition from Saturday to Sunday. Let's see how I can mess up Luis Severino and Sean Manaea here. Uh, but he was great yet again for the Mets. He pitched, as I pull up the box score here, he pitched 6 and 2/3. All the stars went 6 and 2/3. That's kind of interesting. Um, uh,
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right.
6 and 2/3 of 5 run or 5 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. So a very really good outing for Luis Severino and got out of a big jam with some got a big strikeout when needed. Got a little got some help with a nice pickoff to eliminate a runner. So good job by Luis Severino to get out of the jam. Unfortunately, the Mets couldn't really capitalize on some of their offensive chances. Probably their best chance came in that fourth inning when they got the first 2 men on, and nothing really transpired after that. They did take a 1-0 lead in the sixth inning with a big 12 hit from Starling Marte, but the Reds came right back in the following inning to put a run on the board on a little bloop hit down the right field line that found some open space with 2 outs. So the Reds picked up a big 2-out hit. Noel V. Marte, who they got in the Luis Castillo trade, I believe, from the Mariners. So that's someone that they're very high on. But a nice job by Reed Garrett in this game again. He got 4 outs, got 3 strikeouts. Unfortunately, the ninth inning for a guy who's been so good with the Mets, Phil Maton, he did struggle in this outing. He hit Spencer Steer, which obviously you never want to hit. I believe Steer led off the inning, correct? If I'm thinking correctly. So obviously to hit the leadoff guy is not good. France followed with a single. They eventually had the 2 runners in scoring position with 1 out, and Santiago Espinal landed one in left field. 2 runs scored. The Reds take the lead, and that was pretty much all she wrote from there. The Mets went down silent in the ninth, so a tough 3-1 loss for the Mets. And like I said, Severino was great. It was just unfortunate that the Mets couldn't really get much going offensively to get him a win and just win the game in general.
Yeah, and unfortunate that the hits that he allowed were of a soft variety. So I think he pitched really well. I think he didn't necessarily deserve to allow a run, especially in that fifth inning where he also allowed a couple of soft hits and then magically worked out of it. Also, Luis Torrens, by the way, I have to mention him. Um, he is. Yeah, I have never seen a catcher uh, for the Mets, at least, throw out runners so accurate, so quick, at such a consistent basis. I think every time you look up when Jose Torrens makes a throw, it seems like it's in the exact same spot, right next to second base for the second baseman to make a tag. It's mind blowing that it makes it look easy, which we know as Mets fans with the caught stealing issues we have had in our history that it's not that easy. So kudos to him. What a backup catcher he's been. And I also have to give my kudos to a guy you don't like to give kudos to, but Reed Garrett. Another great outing, 4 outs, 3 strikeouts. Um, 2 outings this weekend where he got 4 outs and he was tremendous. So
I gave Reed Garrett his credit when I was doing that game recap. So, I'll give credit when credit's due. No doubt about that. But I'm also going to be blunt with things aren't going so well for certain people that
no,
we've seen with
but
Reed
he is
Garrett.
in a good groove now. So
Yes.
hopefully he's gonna keep it up
Yep.
because we could definitely use him without. We can definitely use good Reed Garrett without Daniel Nunez still not there. So yeah, fortunately, Maton struggled, but he's been so good for us that it was bound to happen that he had a bad outing.
Yeah, and obviously, like you mentioned, Daniel Nunez is still out for the Mets. Well, the Mets got some bad news as well with Jeff McNeil, who was hit on the wrist Friday night, and his season is done, for now. If the Mets make a big magical run late in October, there's a possibility McNeil could come back, but uh, McNeil is sidelined for the next, I believe, they said 4 to 6 weeks with a wrist fracture, so he is done, and we're going to see probably a whole lot more of Jose Iglesias starting at second base because the Mets recalled DJ Stewart, and we obviously know DJ Stewart can't play the infield. So it's going to be the
Can't
Iglesias.
play the outfield.
We can't play the outfield either. Yeah. So it's going to be the Iglesias show at second base for the remainder of the season. But obviously, if they're going to turn double plays like they did on Saturday down the stretch like that, doesn't matter how well Jose Iglesias is hitting at the plate. With that defense, it's a nice combination up the middle to go with someone who should be a finalist for a Gold Glove and perhaps might get a Gold Glove uh, this year. Fingers crossed, anyway.
Well, I have said that for a couple of years, and at times he's not even a finalist. So
Get your
I'm not
hopes
gonna
up.
say that out loud. No, I'm not gonna say that out
Well,
loud.
also one note to say, or something that kind of might stick out as a guy, Harrison Bader obviously hit the home run on Saturday. He followed that up with a 2-for-3 performance on Sunday. So maybe Harrison Bader is gonna get into a nice little stretch here these last couple weeks because the Mets, are he's been a rotation guy for a bit now, so I'm sure he's eager to get out there and play. And we know early in the season he wasn't particularly happy about being a rotation guy, so maybe he got a little bit of a kick in the pants here and is getting getting things back on track and trying to get some more playing time. So we'll keep an eye on Harrison Bader over these last couple weeks of the season. But as it stands now, the National League wildcard race at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time in the United States, the Mets are tied for the third wildcard spot with the Atlanta Braves, with the loss to the Reds yesterday and the Braves walking it off against the Colorado Rockies. But the Mets are also a game.
Jokingly.
Yeah, yeah, and the Mets are also a game and a half back of the Diamondbacks because the Diamondbacks won. They beat up old friend Justin Verlander badly,
Yeah,
but
thanks, Justin.
yeah, particularly Pavin Smith, who had like 3 home runs in the first 5 innings
Yeah,
or something like that. It was crazy. And
yeah.
the Padres are staying at the top of that wild card race. So today the blue the Braves play the Cincinnati Reds down in Atlanta. So maybe the win yesterday will spark a nice little stretch here for the Cincinnati Reds. That'd be very nice. They did the Braves a favor yesterday. Now they could do the Mets a favor. It's off days for the Padres and the Diamondbacks. They start series the Padres in Seattle tomorrow, and tomorrow the Diamondbacks start a series at home with the Texas Rangers. So last year's World Series matchup
Oh,
in the
nice. Yeah,
deserts.
cool.
So that is what is the picture currently in the National League wild card race. We know the minor league season. I saw yesterday Binghamton played their final home game of the season. Just a week or two left in some seasons in the minor league level. So I think this is a good time to transition to the minor league minute because we have to cherish these here because there's not going to be a whole lot more minor league minutes in there in the near future.
No, St. Lucie and Brooklyn ended their season, so it's only Binghamton and Syracuse for the next couple of weeks. So let's get it going. St. Lucie Friday. St. Lucie lost on a pitcher's duel in a bullpen game for St. Lucie. Chandler Marsh, an undrafted free agent, made his pro debut, getting 2 outs, allowing 2 hits and 2 walks with 1 strikeout, but no runs. I don't know how he did it, but he did. Christopher Gomez followed him with 1 1/3 scoreless. 14th round pick Tanner Witt struck out 2 over. His first 1 2/3 innings in organizational ball. Colin Houck drove in both St. Lucie runs, and Ellie Serrano went 2 for 3 with a triple and a run scored in a 3-2 loss. Saturday, Carson Bench had himself a day in a 6-0 win. The first rounder went 3 for 4 with 2 doubles, an RBI, and a run scored. He also made a great play in center field and a tremendous slide on the bases, doing it all. Hayden Singer on a rehab assignment drove in 2. 2023 seventh rounder Noah Hall pitched a scoreless inning in rehab. Dylan Ross, a 2022 13th rounder, made his pro debut after a long-term injury and he struck out the side. Ethan Lantier had his second strong outing since he was drafted as the 12th rounder this year, and he went 2 scoreless with 3 strikeouts. Christian Rodriguez went 4 to finish the shutout, striking out 4, a 1.69 ERA in 15 innings for the 19-year-old with St. Lucie. Sunday, the final game of the year, fittingly ends in an extra inning loss. Nick Rosselli went 2 for 5 with a double and 3 runs scored, and Edgar Moreta pitched well again, throwing 2 perfect with 2 strikeouts. Unfortunately, most of the bullpen struggled in a 10-7 loss. Irving Coda ended his impressive season with 3 perfect and lowered his St. Lucie ERA to 2.08. St. Lucie ends the year with a 45-83 record. Brooklyn, Friday, the Cyclones also played a close one on Friday. Just like St. Lucie, they won 3-1. Omar de Los Santos went 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored, and the other Los Santos, Jeffrey, drove in through 2. Morabito doubled as he had his 110th hit with the Cyclones, a Cyclones record for a most hits in a season. It was enough for Jack Weniger, and the bullpen. Weniger went 6 innings of 1-run ball, allowing just 1 hit and 2 walks with 10 strikeouts. He lowered his ERA to 3.12. Ty Adcock pitched a rehab scoreless frame, and the Mets 8-rounder Ryan Lambert got his first pro save, hitting 99 on the gun and going 2 scoreless innings with 3 strikeouts. Saturday, the Cyclones made 4 errors that helped him lose 7-3. Felipe de la Cruz went 5, allowing 5 but just 2 earned. He did allow 7 hits and a walk, but also struck out 8. Justin Lawson had a scoreless inning as he had a very strong season with a 2.49 ERA, ended with 11 scoreless appearances over his last 13. Boston Barrow had 2 hits, and Christopher Suarez drove in 2 in the loss. And Sunday, as for the St. Lucie Mets, the Brooklyn season ended on Sunday. The Cyclones, however, did win. Boston Barrow went 3 for 3 with 2 doubles, a triple, and 2 RBIs. Zach Thornton struggled, allowing 3 runs over 2 and a third, but the Cyclones bullpen was tremendous. Gregory Luis pitched 1 and 2/3 more scoreless, lowering the Cyclones' ERA to 1.08 and his season ERA to 1.33. The Cyclones ended their season with a 65-67 record. Binghamton, Friday, the Rumble Ponies allowed the tying run in the 9th and 6 runs in the 10th to lose 9-3. And Jeremiah Dixon hit his 18th, going 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs scored. Nolan McLean was strong over 5 innings, allowing just 2 runs, 1 earned on 2 hits and 3 walks with 5 strikeouts. JT Shook blew the save and got the loss as he struggled. Saturday, Jed Williams went 2 for 4 and Ryan Clifford hit his 16th for the Binghamton Rumble Ponies, but the Ponies offense didn't do much more in a 4-1 loss. Sunday, the Rumble Ponies won a pitching duel 2-1. Jonathan Pintero was strong again over 6 scoreless frames, allowing just 2 hits, 1 walk while striking out 7. Wilkin Ramos got a 2-inning save. Rowdy Jordan and Jalen Palmer drove in the runs. Syracuse, Friday, more offense for Syracuse as they won 11-8 after a 9-run 5th. Hugh Gilbert hit another home run, a 3-1 shot. Carlos Cortez and Yomer Sanchez also homered in that inning. Luis Angel Acuna went 2 for 5 with an RBI as all hitters had at least 1 hit. Joanna Suarez did struggle, allowing 8 runs over 5 innings, but he got the win. Eric Orsi pitched 2 scoreless. Josh Hajika, now in AAA, pitched 1 scoreless, and Grant Hardwick got the save. Bullpen in Syracuse is solid, but the starting pitcher, and that continued during the rest of the weekend. Another day, another bad outing for Syracuse starter on Saturday as they lost 19-0. Hamill allowed 9 runs over 4 1/3 innings, allowing 4 home runs. Tyler Subert, who has struggled as well, was the only pitcher with a scoreless outing. He pitched 2 perfect with 4 strikeouts. Josh Hajika, or whatever you spell or or name or pronounce that, who pitched well on Friday, allowed 7 runs, 3 earned while getting just 2 outs. Sunday, in extra inning losses, the Syracuse Mets couldn't score twice in extra innings. Carlos Cortez and Joe Hudson homered, And Jose As- Azócar made his organizational debut, going 2 for 5 with a double and RBI. Brandon Sproat struggled, what's new for the Syracuse starters, as he allowed 5 over 4. Fujinami had 2 scoreless frames, as he seems to have figured it out lately. And that was the minor league minute for this week.
Obviously, not good to hear some poor starts in the upper levels, particularly AAA, with some key arms struggling there. But just
I think everybody has struggled there.
yeah,
Hamill, Fassel, Titwell, Sprout, Suarez, since his promotion, has struggled there. I think Casey is now more of a bullpen arm. He has struggled there. Only Tyler McGill did actually pretty well when he was there, but for the rest, and Buto earlier in the year, but for the rest, it's been crazy. It's been like every time I look at the box score from the Syracuse match, you see double digits in runs.
yeah, that's it's not good. It's not good to
Not good.
see and hear and all that stuff. But those seasons are coming to an end, so um, they have an off season to evaluate and maybe tinker with some guys for an off season programs, and obviously down in Port St. Lucie come February 2025. So this might be a year you just have to burn the film, as they say. Just burn the film and move on. So maybe that's what's going to happen with Mike Vassell and Dom Hamill and guys like that.
Yeah, maybe it's a learning experience, and it's also, I don't think it's a bad thing to see that it's not always easy for a guy, for example, like Brandon Sproat, who rose to the minors this year and just was great at every stop he had. He has a little bit. He's now seeing that the upper levels close to the majors aren't that easy, so you have to adjust.
Yep. No doubt about that. The game is full of adjustments, as we've seen at the major league level. So transitioning back to that major league level, the Mets have 3 north of the border against the Toronto Blue Jays. May I just say it's weird to have the Mets be playing in a different country on September 11th. Just saying. I think it's weird. But anyway, the Mets, what was supposed to be the return of Paul Blackburn is no more. Is going to be another start for Tyler McGill. No starters have been put on for the Blue Jays on MLB.com for this series. Obviously, I would assume that the Mets probably have some idea who's going to be starting tonight for the Jays. I would imagine we'll probably see just based on who pitched in the previous series for Toronto. We'll probably see old friend Chris Bassett at some point. Kevin Gosman didn't pitch in that series against the Braves, so we'll probably see him as well. So some good, solid major league pitchers the Mets will be facing. Probably, we're not 100% sure. We're just speculating. Like I said, the only confirmed pitchers are on the Mets side, and McGill gets to start tonight as Paul Blackburn is not going to be returning from the IL tomorrow night in Toronto. I should say tonight is a 7:07 first pitch, not 7:05, not 7:10. Splitting it down the middle at 7:07. I guess that's technically not even down the middle, but whatever. So it's the same case tomorrow as well, a 7:07 first pitch with David Peterson on the mound going up against, we don't know. And then the series concludes on Wednesday afternoon at 3:07 p.m. Not 3:10, not 3:05, 3:07. And that's going to be Sean Manaea, whose name you should know by now in this episode. He's going up against we don't know. So that is the case as it stands almost quarter of 2 here in the Eastern time zone in the United States. So obviously the Mets are looking to bounce back after dropping the finale against the Reds. Their winning streak was snapped, so they're looking to start a new one. Who are going to be the guys that are going to perhaps spark the win streak or keep a potential win streak going in this series? We're going to put some names to the claim with our player of the series predictions. I get the pitcher this time. You get the hitter. Full disclosure, I was going to pick Paul Blackburn as my guy coming
Yeah,
off
of
the
course,
IL and whatnot.
of course.
But
now
now
you're
I
gonna
can't do
pick
that.
David Peterson.
So I'm going to go with my man, David Peterson, to just continue this hot
Oh,
stretch and pitch the Mets, give the Mets another solid outing. So let's just go with the man that is David Peterson.
yeah. I doubt that you really gonna pick Paul Blackburn before that news. I doubt that. You had Peterson all the way, but you know that I'm gonna say, oh, it's always David Peterson, always David Peterson. So now sneakily you thought, there's my chance to say that I wanted to pick Paul Blackburn, but now I have to pick David Peterson, my man, because that's probably 80% of my picks for pitchers with David Peterson.
I could have picked Sean Manaea. I didn't say it was I was gonna just
Yes, but you didn't because you always pick David
well, you
Peterson.
also picked Sean
Now,
Manaea in the last series, so it'd be kind of not fun to go with back to back.
which honestly didn't help me because he obviously made the worst start out of the three. So it wasn't a good pick for me. I should have went with my guts because I wanted to pick somebody else, but I didn't. I said that in the episode. I wanted to pick somebody else, but I still have to go with someone. I should have went with my guts. Stupid me. But back to the predictions. I also, by the way, you can pick Tyler McGill if he was replacing Paul Blackburn. Andrew. That's a possibility.
Yeah, too bad I have next to no faith in Tyler McGill.
Oh, oh, no, that's it. All right. Well, I'm gonna pick a guy who crushed two foul balls in the upper deck uh, in in the series. Who desperately wanted a home run, came close twice, um, because it was just foul. Obviously, the distance was long enough. I think I saw even a pitcher yesterday thought that the ball was out, and unfortunately, it just went foul. Um, you're also your guy who's gonna hit. He's gonna lock in a home run or lock in, not lock in, but lock in a home run in this series. I mean, he just missed two, so now he's just gonna hit one at least, maybe two. I think I see a big series coming up for Brennan.
Just going with all my guys. Got a lot of guys.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna respond on that, Andrew. I think the audience can
The audience can create their own thoughts
fill
on
that
that
in
and
for me. Yeah, you
whatnot.
can fill
Yeah.
that in for me. Fill in is something you like as well. So about.
Jeez. Oh well. Well, obviously, if Brandon Nimmo has a good series, I'm going to be very happy about that. And obviously, if
You
David
always be
Peterson has a great
happy.
outing, I'm going to be very happy about that. So it's a win-win either way for me.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
It's going to happen. I mean, now they
Yeah,
made they brought the fences in Toronto, so
he's just making. I think he's a. If you crush two baseballs in an at bat like he did and just missed, I still think you had a good at bat. So he's taking better at bats. I believe lately. So at some point, Brandon Nimmo has 19 or 18 home runs this year. He's been dry for a long time, but he had 18 home runs before that. At some point, it just has to be that he's gonna hit one at some point again, and maybe get that power going again. So why not in Toronto
why not? Why not get back on track in a different country? Why not?
against Chris Bassett?
Against maybe we're not. We're
Yeah.
speculating on that, but
No, I think the boot said it's Bassett. Uh, I don't know, French or something like that.
oh,
French.
that young guy they brought up it's been really good.
I
I,
don't know of his name.
I know who you're talking about. He had like that
Yeah,
really
I think
yeah.
he pitched Tuesday, Bassett Monday, and then Golfman Wednesday.
Well,
So good arms.
yep,
Three good arms. So
yep. The Mets are going to be facing a lot of good pitching down the stretch, and obviously they're getting obviously well Barrios is
uh,
probably the best the Jays can throw out there, but you're getting some
terrible bullpen though.
so get
So
so chase the starters early.
yes, get the pitch count up.
Yep. That's Corne's key to success in these 3 games against the Toronto Blue Jays.
Get to the bullpen. Get to the bullpen. Get to the bullpen.
Wow. Well, I think we're
And
gonna,
keep it close
yeah, keep it
in the
close.
same time.
Yeah,
Because if you allow 6 runs early, then you know that the momentum is tough to come back. You see that every game, but keep the game close. Get to the bullpen. I think then you have a winning formula.
yeah. I like that winning formula, and hopefully that plays out these next couple of days as we wrap things up. A reminder to go check our social medias on Facebook and Twitter. Just search the Queen's Connection because it is our final ticket giveaway of the 2024 season with 2 tickets to the Mets and Phillies game at Citi Field on Thursday, September 19th. That's now a 7:15 first pitch because it is the game on Fox. So got pushed back from 7:10 to 7:15. Had to squeeze those
Wow.
5 extra minutes of commercials in there because it's the national broadcast. So, that's how it goes. So that is going on right now on our social media. So if you look us up on either Twitter or Facebook, just follow the instructions that go with it, and you'll be entered in the draw. We're going to pick our winner on Thursday, so there's just a couple more days to get in the draw. So make sure you do that. And also make sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to the show on YouTube or Spotify. We would greatly appreciate that. And we thank Mr. Corne Hogeveen for joining us as always. And we hope you enjoy these next couple of games in Toronto.
Yeah, I hope you too, because then the Mets have won, so then it's always good.
And then we're not crabby.
No, wow. You tend to be. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to wait until the outro has been played.
All right. Well, I think the outro is probably underway by now. So we thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy these next 3 games against the Blue Jays. We'll talk to you later this week before a big series with the Philadelphia Phillies.